President Bola Tinubu on a two-nation visit arrives Dubai, United Arab Emirates, ahead of Japan and Brazil official visits. Information Minister assures of federal government's commitments to citizens' welfare as he engages people of Enugu.
As a president, is very proud to associate with the people of Southeast Nigeria.
Resuscitation of Ajakuta steel plant. Steel Minister reaffirms renewed hope agenda.
Within the next 12 months, we will conclude the technical and financial framework.
Good evening. You're welcome to NTA Network News. We are live in Abuja. Hingino John Adams will be joining us in Lagos. And here in Abuja, we have Benny Adams with the business news. So, Benny, what's with the markets today?
The market is bleeding, but that is for new investors. They are smiling while already existing investors are not smiling. But again, inflation figures are slowing down, which is a cheery news. You get to hear details in the course of the bulletin.
And of course, Bade has the sports update. What's new from the world of sports, Bade?
Well, Nigeria's D Tigers are looking unstoppable at the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket. 2 wins in 2 games, with the latest coming against Tunisia earlier today.
This newscast is streaming live on all our social media handles displayed on your screen. Now, President Bola Tinubu has arrived Dubai, United Arab Emirates, ahead of his two-nations trip to Japan and Brazil. The presidential 001 airplane landed at the Al Maktoum International Airport, Dubai, at about 10 minutes past 10 local time this Friday. The president is on stopover before proceeding to Yokohama in Japan. A statement by the presidential advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, indicates that the president will, in Japan, attend the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD 9, in the city of Yokohama from August 20 to 22nd. With the theme, Co-Create Innovate Solutions with Africa, TICAD 9 will focus on Africa's economic transformation and improvements in the business environments and institutions through private investment and innovation. In addition to attending plenary sessions on themes linked to the conference, the Nigerian president will hold bilateral meetings and meet with chief executive officers of some Japanese companies with investments in Nigeria. The investments of President Bola Tinubu in agriculture, education, infrastructure, healthcare, and economy in the Southeast are the pathways for sustainable development, both in the zone and across the country. Caleb Ogbonna reports that these are the views of the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, and Governor Francis Nwifuru when they interfaced in Abakaliki as part of the minister's tour of the zone.
Describing the renewed hope agenda of the federal government as the only reliable pathway to sustainable economic development of the country, which its ripple effects are visible in the southeast, especially in Ebonyi State, the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, opined, has brought the zone to limelight, which is part of President Bola Tinubu's manifesto.
Yes, Mr. President has the people of Ebonyi State close his heart. As a president, is very proud to associate with the people of Southeast Nigeria. You will ensure that the people of Southeast Nigeria are in the forefront of this renewable agenda.
The minister, accompanied by the federal government delegation, including the Director General of Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Abdulhamid Dembos, is geared towards aligning citizens with federal government policies and projects. For Governor Francis Nwifuru, the tour is timely, as the progress being witnessed in Ebonyi State are the ripple effects of the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President.
I can say that clear that this is the first time we have a project, we say this is the project of ongoing and many completed.
The visit by the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, to Ebonyi State is part of the larger engagement with the people of Southeast on the inclusiveness and implementation of the Renewed Hope agenda in the zone. In Abakaliki, Caleb Obunna, NTN News.
Now, the Minister of Information and National Orientation and leader of the federal government's delegation on tour of projects in the Southeast says at the end of President Tinubu's first term, the benefits of the ongoing reforms will be clearer as the federal government remains committed to transparency, accountability, and delivering the dividends of democracy to all Nigerians. At a citizens' engagement in Enugu to reassess the activities of the government within 2 years, the team leader commended ongoing reforms by the state's government and encouraged the people to subscribe to the ongoing reforms of the government for all categories of citizens. Government successes in security, national integration, and youth engagement were highlighted. Traditional institutions, women and youth groups participated in the citizens' engagement that is being replicated across the country. Now, in continuation of the tour on federal government projects in the Southeast, the federal government's delegation, under the leadership of the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, visited ongoing legacy infrastructural projects by the Tinubu administration in Ebonyi State. The team, accompanied by the governor of Ebonyi State, Francis Mwifuru, was at the ongoing 118 kilometers Calabar-Ebonyi section of the Trans-Saharan Superhighway that is being constructed at a cost of 445 billion naira with a rigid concrete pavement connecting Calabar to Ebonyi, Benue, Nasarawa, and Abuja. The team re-emphasized that the Trans-Saharan Superhighway is conceived to boost regional integration and unlock economic opportunities across the sub-region under the Renewed Hope agenda of President Tinubu.
Yes. Not in one project, not in two, not in three, multiple projects. Even now we have seen multiple here. And I want you to know that since yesterday we have been in Enugu and we have come down here. There is no dull moment, and we are not tired, because what we are seeing is gladdening our heart. It is project after project, from works to healthcare to agriculture, everything. And even when we came to the state, we are also seeing the collaboration that is happening between the federal government and the state governments. This is a collaboration that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is pushing, so that together we can take Nigeria to prosperity. This is the promise of Mr. President when he took office, and he's keeping to it. We are glad that we have come here. We are seeing this Trans-Saharan, and it's crossing about 4 or 5 states. This is unprecedented. This is really delivering dividends of democracy to the people of not just Ebonyi State, of the Southeast and the entire region and Nigeria as a whole. And this is happening all over the country.
700 meters. Yeah, so it's one of the big projects that the president is doing in Ebonyi and Cross River. Because if you go to that Indibe beach, we had a very big trouble there, flood issue there about 4 days ago. I think we consumed about 86 homes, and 95 families were affected. 6 died in that corridor. So with that bridge, that will be a thing of the past.
The 700-meter bridge on the superhighway mass housing project, dualization of Enugu-Abakaliki Expressway, construction of Akwipo Road flyover, among other project sites, were visited. The team also engaged stakeholders at a town hall meeting to review and reassess the performance of the Renewed Hope so far. Now, Minister of Steel Development Shuaibu Abubakar Audu has reaffirmed federal government's commitments to fast-tracking the revival of Ajaokuta steel plant and other legacy steel assets in the country. This renewed pledge was made as the closing of the National Steel Summit held in Abuja. Ekene Ndulwe reports.
It is day 2 of the National Steel Summit in Abuja. Stakeholders from across the industry are engaging in intensive discussions, searching for lasting solutions to revive Nigeria's struggling steel sector. Key recommendations center on the revival of the Ajaokuta steel plant. For the Minister of Steel Development, Shuaibu Abubakar Audu, the time for promises is over. It is time for action. he announced plans to develop and launch a national strategic action plan for the steel and metallurgical sector.
Within the next 12 months, we will conclude the technical and financial framework, which is the technical and financial audit for the phased completion of Ajokuta and the restoration of Neomco operations, starting with production-ready units. We would launch the National Steel Policy Implementation Framework and push for the enactment of the Metallurgical Industry Act.
If you look at the big buildings everywhere in the world, what is holding them? Steel. And there is no way this country can import that amount of steel that I have just mentioned. We cannot import it. We must build locally.
As the summit draws to a close, stakeholders are living with renewed hope and determination to reposition the steel industry as a key driver of national development. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulue, NTA News.
Nigeria's inflation has slowed from the second consecutive month in July 2025 to 21.88% from the 22.22% in June. Data by the National Bureau of Statistics shows that prices of key food staples dropped within the period. Muplanda Cook has the details.
Headline inflation rate for July 2025 dropped to 21.88%, representing a 0.34% decline from the June 2025 figure of 22.22%. The data by the National Bureau of Statistics attributes the moderation to falling prices of key food items including vegetable oil, beans, local rice, maize flour, guinea corn, wheat flour, and millet. The data shows that the three major contributors to the headline inflation were food and non-alcoholic beverages, restaurants and accommodation services, and transport, while the least contributors were recreation, sports and culture, alcoholic beverages, tobacco and narcotics, insurance, and financial services. Food inflation in July 2025 was 22.74% year-on-year, while on a month-on-month basis, it was 3.12%, slightly lower than 3.25% recorded in June. Following the recently concluded rebasing exercise, the July figures are based on a new consumer price index base year of 2024 and a weight reference period of 2023. In Abuja, Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
Nigeria's economic landscape is a topic that's always on our minds. And today, the National Bureau of Statistics offers both a glimmer of hope and some cause for concern. The NBS has just announced that Nigeria's headline inflation rate has eased to 21.88% in July 2025, and that's a slight drop from the 22.22% recorded in June. While a decrease in inflation is generally good news, a closer look at the number reveals some prices falling, but others are still climbing, particularly in rural areas. Now, to help us break down the numbers for the average Nigerian, for us to understand what this means, we are joined by a renowned academic and Nigeria's first professor of capital market studies, Nasarawa State University, as well as a former commissioner for finance, Professor Uche Waleki. Thank you for joining us on the news.
Thank you so much, Lami. My pleasure.
All right. So, Prof, on the surface, there's a drop in the headline inflation, which is positive. However, the month-on-month headline inflation actually increased. Can you help us explain the difference between these two metrics?
Okay, first, I think the first thing to note is that inflation rate is computed from consumer price index. An index is a measure that shows you the difference between movement in prices between one period and the other. And of course, you know that using the rebased CPI, the National Bureau of Statistics, computes average prices based on 934, commodities. So when you hear year on year simply means that compared to the same month the previous year, inflation rate, rose by as much as 21.8%. And month on month simply means compared to that of the previous month. So if year on year price is slowing and month on month is rising, it simply tells you that the current price momentum is still strong, and that's why policymakers focus on the two, not only on year, but also on month inflation rates.
So the NBS report also credits lower prices for specific food items like beans and local rice for the reduction in food inflation. Is this trend sustainable beyond the harvest season?
Well, I would say it's not going to be sustainable without intervention. Interventions will be needed because, as you rightly mentioned, part of why we saw this slowdown, particularly with respect to food, has to do with the harvest cycle. So interventions are needed. It's important that in terms of the inputs, farm inputs, for example, the seeds, the fertilizers, the even storage facilities, it's very important that these are, looked into, for us to have, sustainable slowdown in food inflation.
From the statistics, we equally see a significant difference between urban and rural inflation rates. What factors are driving this urban-rural divide, and what can policymakers do to address these imbalances?
Of course, the challenges we face in the rural areas. The transport infrastructure challenge is one of them. Many of our rural roads are not passable. So for a typical trader in the village that goes to buy something like bread from neighboring town, of course he has to move it to, pay transport costs and move it to his wherever he's doing the sale. So the transport is one factor. There is also what I call the substitution, lower substitution options, that we have in the rural communities. So somebody in the urban area, for example, if you tell him that the price of foreign rice is high, he can substitute, switch to, local rice. So, but that option, you don't have that in rural areas. And again, remember too, that even in the urban communities, you have more people who are selling the products, and so there is naturally competition that will make prices stable. You don't have that in rural areas. So I think these are some of the reasons why we have that disparity. So the transport infrastructure thing is very critical, and that's why it's important that rural roads are looked into to ensure that they help to bring down prices.
Thank you so much, Professor Waleke, for putting perspective to the issue.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
All right, you're watching News at 9 on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We pause now for a break. Do stay.
Heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise.
TerraQ, unwrap joy, unleash taste.
Thank you for staying. So we now take you to Abakaliki, where the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, who is leading federal government's delegation touring federal government's projects in the Southeast, is at this moment addressing the press. So let's give you some soundbite from that live event.
Your Excellency, if we knew that we have these so many projects to show to Nigeria, we would have opted to stay here for a whole 1 week, because all the projects we saw today, federal government projects to the state government project, constructed or delivered by the APC government, we have not seen up to 20%, we have not seen 20%. His Excellency the Governor is saying we should please stay tomorrow and the day after to continue to look at the federal government projects and the state government projects here. Unfortunately, because thank you. Now, while we were at the site,
we shall bring you details of that address and, of course, the entirety of the meeting with stakeholders in the Southeast as the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, addresses the press. Time now to join Benny for business news. Benny, it's over to you.
Thank you, Lami. That was quite cheery news there. Now, the National Insurance Commission, NICOM, has begun implementing the Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Act 2025, signed by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on July 31st. A statement by NICOM says the law raises minimum capital requirements to 10 billion naira for life insurers, 15 billion for non-life insurers, 25 billion for composite firms, and 35 billion for reinsurers, alongside a new risk-based capital framework. Companies have until July 30, 2026 to comply, using only an unencumbered assets with verified ownership, and firms that meet the target will get new licenses, while defaulters risk liquidation or mergers. NICOM will work with other regulators to secure incentives and ease compliance cost. And out to the energy market at this time, the crude oil prices declined in the global commodities market this Friday, reflecting sustained geopolitical uncertainties as markets focused on today's meeting in Alaska with U.S. President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart. Brent crude futures fell 39 cents to $66.45 a barrel, while the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures declined 42 cents to $66.54. Let's take a look at other numbers from agri to metals at this time. And from commodities now to the equities market, where the Nigerian exchange closed its last trading day of the week at 63 naira 25 kobo per share, as the market extended the losses recorded in the previous two sessions. The oil share index declined by 0.46%, closing at 144,628.20 basis points. And now on Thursday, downtrend was influenced by sustained profit-taking in name among other 35 equities, leading to investors losing 425.05 billion naira, as market capitalization also fell to 91.50 trillion naira. The market sentiment closed bearish with 36 gainers and 30 losers, as M-Benefit led the gainers list, while Lasaco, Intergains and Link Insure led the losers list. The total traded volume declined by 44.04% to close at 1.37 billion naira, valued at 13.92 billion naira in 32 deals. Univision closed with the highest volume with 308.80 million units traded, while GTCO closed with the highest value, amounting to 2.01 billion naira. That is it on business at this time. Lami, you can take it from me at this point.
Thank you so much, Benny, for the business updates. Now, the House of Representatives has refuted an allegation that members receive payments to sponsor motions, bills and petitions. House spokesman Akin Rotimi says the allegation, as contained in a viral video by a member representing Hadejia, Auyo and Kafid House of Federal Constituency of Jigawa State, Ibrahim Auyo, remains unsubstantiated and is capable of undermining public confidence in the National Assembly. He assures the public that the lawmaker will be invited to substantiate his claims with evidence when the House reconvenes, or face the House Committee on Ethics and Privileges in line with parliamentary procedure. Akin Rotimi clarified that sponsoring a motion or bill is not a contract job involving bribes. As such, is inconsistent with parliamentary ethics. He reaffirms that National Assembly is an institution of records with well-established and transparent procedure for introducing bills, motions and petitions, governed by standing orders of both chambers. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has confirmed an incident involving British Airways on Friday morning, August 15, 2025, in which 58 passengers were denied boarding due to issues with the airline's aircraft. According to the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection of NCAA, Michael Achimugu, hotel accommodation has been provided for those affected. 28 passengers chose to return home, while 30 passengers accepted hotel accommodation. Arrangements are in place to airlift the affected passengers tomorrow morning. The NCAA states that eligible passengers may file for compensation in line with applicable regulations. Passengers are advised to contact British Airways directly to process compensation claims and report any unresolved concerns to the NCAA Consumer Protection Department. The NCAA will continue to closely monitor the situation to ensure the airline meets all regulatory obligations. Now, the governing All Progressives Congress, APC, says the allegations surrounding the declaration of APC as a terrorist organization by a Canadian court was baseless, unfounded, and untrue. In a statement signed by its National Publicity Secretary, Felix Moka, the APC says the declaration was allegedly made in the case of Douglas Igariwa, the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness, in which the applicant, Douglas Igariwa, sought judicial review of a decision by the Canadian Immigration Appeal Division, which determined that the applicant was inadmissible in Canada under its Immigration and Refugee Protection Act. In a decision in the matter dated 17th June 2025, Judge Pong Ngo dismissed the application for judicial review on the grounds that the applicant was a member of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and that the PDP was an organization engaged in acts of subversion pursuant to paragraph 34, sub 1, sub B.1 of the IRPA, making him inadmissible in Canada. The statement adds that APC was not in existence as of 2007. The party was registered in 2013. The applicant's claim of membership of APC as of 2007 is evidently false, as he could not have been a member of APC that didn't exist at the time. An effort by a convicted civil servant in Kogi State to overturn the death sentence handed down on him by the High Court of Kogi State has failed. Olabode Arewa reports that the Court of Appeal Abuja Division has ruled that indeed Dauda Ibrahim had a hand in his daughter's abduction and murder for ritual purpose.
On 3rd August 2022, 14-year-old Sharif Ibrahim, a daughter of Kogi State-based civil servant Dauda Ibrahim, was abducted at night from her father's home and murdered for ritual purpose. Upon police investigations, it was discovered that her father must have conspired with 2 associates to commit the crime, leading to his conviction and sentencing to death for murder by the High Court of Kogi State. The convict approached the Court of Appeal to appeal against his conviction. The 3-man panel of justices, led by Justice Okunabang, observed that the appellant's actions before, during, and immediately after his daughter was kidnapped in his presence showed that he must have facilitated the kidnapper's entry into his house for the crime.
But in any case, that is the judgment of the court. We also intend to appeal against it.
His associate, Issa Adamu, was also sentenced to death for the same offense, while a 3rd defendant, Adda Yusuf, is still at large. From the Court of Appeal, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Time now to join Hingino John Adams in Lagos for stories from that axis. Hello, Hingino, it's over to you.
Lami, and welcome to Lagos. Nigerian Academy of Letters is leveraging the expertise of its members to proffer solutions to some of the teething problems the nation is grappling with, especially the identity and value system. These are some of the issues in the front burner at the 27th convocation and investiture of new fellows of the Academy at the University of Lagos. Joel Pupola reports that the 11th president of the Academy, Professor Andrew Haruna, formally took over the helm of affairs at the event.
The Nigerian Academy of Letters, a body of intellectuals in the arts and humanities, has been in the forefront of the nation's development, and this investiture is to expand the horizon of the body, a task the new president, Professor Andrew Haruna, has to execute over the next couple of years. With the investiture of these 31 new members, 13 fellows and honorary members, which include the Obi of Onitsha, Igwe Alfred Nnaemeka Achebe, the Nigerian Academy of Letters now has the numerical strength and a more robust intellectual prowess to make positive changes in tandem with its mandates.
The aim, my main task, is to see how Nigerians can really look inwards, identify themselves, and see how they can regenerate and maintain their identity.
We have a responsibility to ensure that different aspects of humanities are promoted, the quality improved.
The keynote speaker and stakeholders agreed that the theme, Humanities in the Modern Digital World, and the topic of the convocation lecture will reposition arts, humanities, and social science for the ongoing re-engineering. The 11th president of the Nigerian Academy of Letters received the baton of leadership with a charge to continue to uphold the legacy of the intellectual body.
We live with him. At time he is a vice chancellor of the University of Gashua. He had good interaction with traditional institutions.
Priority should be on how to promote and develop our own culture.
With the investiture, a new developmental agenda has been set for the new president, Professor Andrew Haruna, and the consensus is that he is equal to the task, having served as Vice President of NAUS and current Secretary General, Committee of Vice Chancellors. In Lagos, Joel Pupola, NTA News.
The Controller General of Customs at Adewale Adeniyi has handed over seized items including one Smith & Wesson pistol, cartridges of ammunition, and prohibited drugs to relevant agencies. The Controller General says the move underscores the customs commitment to curbing illicit arms proliferation and enhancing national security, while also preventing smuggling of expired pharmaceuticals and other contraband.
These are the face of Colorado.
The entry of these products into the market would have circumvented a breach of Nigeria's import regulations, compromising the protection of local industries and ensuring national security measures. 5 suspects were arrested by customs from the Apapa Area Command in connection with the seized items, which include 16 containers laden with prohibited drugs, expired medicament, food, infringed branded products, among others, with duty-paid value worth over 10 billion naira.
We had observed over a year ago about the discerning increase in the importation of fake pharmaceuticals that are not registered, and that's why we have also put up that onslaught to ensure that we arrest them wherever they are.
Meanwhile, the Nigeria Customs Service Seme Area Command also intercepted 5 trucks loaded with 2,800 bags of foreign rice with duty-paid value of 919,500,626 naira.
The federal government of Nigeria has placed ban on importation of rice through the land border to protect our rice farmers and millers and reduce dependency on imported rice.
The Comptroller General says Nigeria Customs, with the support of strategic partners, is committed to promote professionalism, trade facilitation, and collaboration, which will in turn balance security enforcement with economic growth, as well as keep delivering uncompromising enforcement backed by intelligence to detect and seize prohibited items. In Lagos, Adejoke Odeka, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. Network News will continue after the break.
You're welcome back. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kari, has assured the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency of the readiness of his ministry to support ongoing drug control efforts by NDLEA, especially in the areas of creating alternatives for illicit drug producers and provision of agricultural opportunities for drug users undergoing rehabilitation to prevent them from relapse. Senator Kari gave the assurance when Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, led some members of his management team to a meeting with the minister and top officials of the ministry in Abuja. The visit was to seek collaboration between NDLEA and the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security as part of ongoing efforts to surmount the challenge of drug scourge facing the country, as well as find alternative solutions for cannabis growers across the country. Mara noted that out of the 14.3 million drug users in Nigeria, 10.6 million of them abuse cannabis alone, making the psychoactive substance the most commonly abused in the country. It was meant to be a day of celebration. The decoration of 30 newly promoted Assistant Controllers General of Corrections. But the tone shifted fast as Controller General Sylvester Nwakuche warned that jailbreaks will no longer be tolerated. Victor Azu reports.
From smiles and handshakes to a stern wake-up call, the Controller General of Corrections, Sylvester Nwakuche, used the Kefi jailbreak, where 16 inmates escaped and 5 officers were injured, as his case in point. 7 escapees are back in custody, but for Nwakuche, that's not enough.
Charge you to take full control of their respective zones, their state commands, and their custodial centers as ACGs.
Some of the newly promoted ACGs who may man zonal headquarters told NTA News the honor comes with a heavier responsibility.
What we need to do as ACGs is to put in our best in order to meet the requirements, the mandates of the government.
It's a call to duty. You have to welcome up to strive and do their responsibility, the primary assignment of protecting the public and protecting the nation at large.
Decorations bring pomp, family pride, and even top brass. But this year, the backdrop is stern. Promotion is no shield from accountability. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
And the Nigerian Army War College's leadership is harnessing alumni networks with a view to prefer a forward-looking approach to national security developments. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluwede, made this known at the lecture on strategic value of alumni networks in national security developments. Defense correspondent Olajide Bello reports.
Recent years, the strategic value of alumni networks has gained prominence in shaping national security architecture, particularly in Nigeria. Recognizing this, the Nigerian Army War College has taken a pivotal role in organizing and leveraging its alumni to address the nation's evolving security challenges.
These alumni remain a reservoir of strategic knowledge, operational experience, and institutional wisdom that must be harnessed for national development and regional stability.
This event marks a significant milestone in the life of the college and reflects our collective commitment to sustaining professional relationships, institutional excellence, and national service.
By institutionalizing its alumni network, the Army War College has created a platform for continuous engagement, knowledge sharing, and collaborative problem-solving mechanism.
It is a deliberate and timely step toward institutional memory, strategic continuity, and the building of a professional network anchored on shared values.
Some of them are coming back. You bridge in the gap by helping in organizing certain exercises that will bring in the shortfall.
These professionals, many of whom had held strategic positions in defense, intelligence, and policymaking, contribute to national security not just through their individual capacities, but also by mobilizing collective experts. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
The Federal Road Safety Corps has officially welcomed a fresh group of celebrity special marshals, a move aimed at ramping up campaigns and boosting public awareness on road safety across the country. Among the honorees is NTA's very own Oyeyemi Ajayi. Here is the report.
The Federal Road Safety Corps has worked tirelessly to keep Nigerian roads safe, using every possible avenue to spread the message beyond the popular road safety clubs.
We celebrate not only the energy and potential for our young people, but also their critical role in shaping a safer and more sustainable future for our nation.
The unveiling of this new team of celebrity special marshals is expected to add a big push to the cause.
We'll continue to create awareness about road safety, responsibilities, and also the importance of being a responsible driver, being a responsible passenger.
We intend to use our social media platform, our wide range of connections, and also our people relation to ensure that we have more youths alive.
There is a need for everybody to come together and ensure that there is sanity on the highway.
I will continue to use the Pidgin English, which is the language for every Nigerian, to tell the people out there about how to drive safe.
More work still needs to be done in terms of talking to people about the need for road safety.
The youths happen to be more vulnerable when it comes to issue of road traffic crashes, and we feel they have a major role to play.
The event was part of this year's Road Safety Youth Hangout with the theme Safer Roads, Brighter Future, Youth Leading the Change.
Stay tuned for sports news as we take another set of messages.
An artisan, tired of all the customer complaints and looking to take your craft to the next level? Then join Skill Up Artisans program Super, the game-changing initiative designed to transform Nigerian artisans into world-class professionals. Super is an initiative of President Tinubu to equip artisans with modern skills, cutting-edge technology, and global best practices. Super offers world-class training courses, retraining experienced artisans to sharpen their skills while providing multi-level training to aspiring artisans in various trades like construction, manufacturing, transportation, services, automation, and agriculture. Beyond industrial training funds, certified training centers, Super provides web and mobile training programs for flexibility and convenience. Upon completion, artisans receive globally recognized certification and licensing for credibility, opening doors to international employment opportunities. Super has 3 career-boosting exit paths. The first exit is international job placement through global partnerships. The second is local industry jobs that drive economic growth. And the third is business incubation, providing self-employed artisans with tools and resources to build successful businesses. Super has created a central database that categorizes Nigeria artisans for easy access and management. This also serves as a global marketplace for clients seeking skilled artisans who are rated based on expertise and service quality. Customers can expect top quality service as Super artisans are trained to meet global standards. Super guarantees financial security with escrow payment protection, ensuring customers pay only for satisfactory work. With Super, artisans thrive, customers receive top quality service, and Nigeria's economy grows. Visit www.super.itf.gov.ng today and take your craft to the next level.
Air travel ethics and responsibility between travelers and aviation staff. That is our conversation on NTA Tuesday Live, coming up on the 19th of August 2025. Enlightenment will also include broad issues of airline regulations and safety protocols across the globe. NTA Tuesday Live, every week on Tuesdays at 10:30 p.m. Tuesday Live, incisive and educative. Join us.
Now we go to Badi for the sports news.
All right, straight away, let's begin with basketball as Nigeria's The Tigers put up another impressive performance at the 2025 Men's AfroBasket on Friday after recording an emphatic 87-66 victory over defending champions Tunisia. The Tigers started the game on the front foot and closed the first quarter 29-16 then further widened their lead 48-33 in the second quarter and kept the momentum in the third. They completed the job in the fourth quarter to win 87-66. Josh Okogie stole the show with 33 points and 6 assists, the only player in double figures, while Caleb Agada added 9 points and Emmanuel Omogbo chipped in with 8 points. The Tigers will next take on Cameroon in their last group game on Sunday. To football now, Nigeria's Golden Eaglets under coach Garba Manu continued their team-building process with a friendly match against Mob Stars Academy at the Goal Project pitch of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium on Friday. The highly contested encounter saw both teams match each other for size, but it was the Eaglets who shot into the lead before halftime following an error by Mob Stars. The second half produced loads of mouth-watering actions, but none produced any goal, as the game ended 1-0 in favor of the under-17 boys.
We are trying to build a team, and the team play so cohesively. Though we lost a lot of scoring chances, we'll still work on our lapses, especially in our goal-scoring exercises.
They underrated us, thinking they are going to give us maybe 5 or 10-0, but unfortunately it's just one goal we conceded, and we'll say congratulations to the Mob Stars and congratulations as well to the Golden Eaglet, because the game of soccer is a game of goals.
All right, let's quickly inform you that Liverpool are 4-2 up against Bournemouth at the moment, and of course, new signing Ekitike got one of the goals. Mohamed Salah just scored. It's 4-2 at the moment. That does it on Sports Tonight.
Thank you, Buddy Ed. Saturday's weather forecast is next.
Hello, glad you could join us once more. August is usually known for low temperatures, and the weather isn't disappointing. Maximum temperatures are mostly in their upper 20s, and the highest expected maximum temperature for Saturday should be 31 degrees Celsius to be recorded over Sokoto and Enugu in the south. Nighttime temperatures are also on the low side. You may want to cover up to ward off cold-related ailments. We expect a slight respite in rains for Saturday. Good news to farmers, as a lot of farms are standing neck deep in rainwater, so we expect light rains across parts of the country. The only thing is that it may linger on and off from morning into the afternoon hours and thin out towards the evening period. I leave you with the forecast over other parts of the country.
And that does it on the news for today. We thank you for watching. I'm Lami Ali. Do have a beautiful weekend.
This is the network service of the MTA.